Hello! Welcome to Cat Dad Gaming. Come with me today on a linguistic journey and I'll show you something cool with one of my favorite games. Come on down. So, as a linguistics student, I have a lot of interest in how language is used. I also love run-on sentences. Thanks, brain. I love looking at language use and how effective a tool it can be to shape our opinions and discourse. From political speeches using repetition as a tool to persuade, I think of the Tony Blair speech, education, education and education. To the news using metaphors and associated connotations to push their specific agenda. In the UK, this was really obvious to see with all the right-wing outlets using flooding and swarming, for examples, as words to associate with immigration. How convenient they all have negative connotations attached. How lovely how lovely insert right-wing paper's name. Let's dehumanize people to push Brexit. And America. Oh boy. There's a whole thing going on with President Musk at the moment. So, you know what? No, that's too much. That's too much. Let's focus on the really cool thing that I love in Control. Language and Control? It's a good title, right? See, it's good. If you're unaware, Control is a game made by the Finnish company Remedy. They brought us other awesome games like Alan Wake and Max Payne, teaching my teenage self important lessons like muting the TV when a baby cries. I know that's a low-hanging fruit, but damn, that baby crying scene has been stuck in my head for like 20 years. Control is a weird game that is clearly inspired by the SCP world. The game is full of anomalies and weird shit. Think like Twin Peaks, The Red Room, X-Files and The Smoking Man, if you've got no idea what the SCP universe is. In Control, you get to play as Jesse and explore the strange world by reading files with slightly less redacted sections than the Epstein flight logs. So, I'm going to have to give you some context for why the language use is excellent. And for this, I'll describe the introduction to Control. And just let me say that the start of the game is something special. It truly is such a good intro. Control uses excellent cinematography to create an eerie and unsettling atmosphere for the player.
Each of us, it can be beautiful or terrible, but we're all transfixed.
From bombarding of confusing and unexplained imagery,
a lie. Something to distract
to camera
us from
zooms
the
into
truth.
portraits with well-timed dialogue about
They're
lies.
lying to us. We are lying to ourselves.
And my personal favourite is the extreme camera angle used when the game switches to player control. Seriously, all of this is so well crafted. I just love it so much.
We all feel safe in that room. But sometimes something crawls out from behind the poster.
So, the game starts with a character Jesse who's seemingly led to the old house. And to continue with the excellent atmosphere, the foyer of the building is empty, giving off a liminal space vibe. And you can explore and enter further into the building, but if you backtrack, you will discover that the layout of the building has changed ever so slightly, and you are now trapped inside. Which is a technique I'm pretty familiar with after playing many horror games where you go and explore something and things change as you walk around, and yeah, it's good stuff. Meow.
Hello?
If I let the cat out, the door is ever so slightly and the light angle shines off the door and it changes the green screen reflection. It's annoying. So yeah, after all this uncomfortable setup, we finally meet another character, Artie the janitor, who just screams red flags when you initially see him. He's working like nothing strange is happening, and I really love the framing of the character in this introduction. His face is kept hidden by shadows, and he's shot like a character from a classic film noir setting. You know, he's got bands of light that have been filtered by a blind from a nearby office. It's just really good, you know.
You need to go to the interview. Go that way to the elevator.
Thanks. Elevator that way. Got it.
Very good. I'm Ahti, the janitor, by the way. You'll work for me. You can say I sent you.
Invested from this introduction, this is where my love of the game truly starts to bloom. So the first time I played Control, my fiancée was in the room, and I'd mentioned how weird and creepy the Artie character was. And she listened to a few lines of dialogue before laughing. She is Finnish herself, and explained that Artie was using Finnish idioms which are being directly translated to English without any localization. So, no attempt to make it fit the new localized line. That's why all the speech patterns came across as weird. And yeah, for the rest of the game, I would just get my partner to tell me the Finnish idiom or the meaning of every expression used by Artie. And we had a really good time doing that. So yeah, thanks Remedy for all the great memories you created for me and my waifu, and thank redacted name for doing all the translations. The best way for me to show some cool stuff, the best way for me to show some examples is by using the P method. So you point, example, effect. Seriously, this technique has carried me through so many essays and exams, it's really effective, trust me. If you need to write an essay, well, depending on your subject, yeah. Or the T one, which is term, example, effect, but you know, point. Yeah, so using the previously stated atmosphere and world building methods, we meet the creepy janitor alone in the abandoned building, who seems to be confused, mentioning that you are his new assistant. And RT uses a interesting mix of rally English.
Because it came some stone or something through Timo's seat. Up in the ass of Timo.
And Finnish expressions woven into his speech patterns, which really come across as strange and off-putting. The first use of Finnish in the game is woven into the conversation.
You can say I sent you. If they don't hire you, Johan on helvetti.
Niin, Johan on helvetti.
There's no direct translation for this, but he's basically saying if they don't hire you, they'll be hell to pay. So after this example of Finnish, we get a use of a direct idiom which comes across as really strange.
There be work for the axe. Take them behind the sauna, jumalauta.
There will be work for the axe, take them behind the sauna. Sorry, sauna. It's pronounced sauna. I always say sauna, but it's sauna. So I really love this idiom, as it's kind of obvious when you think about it for a second, but the first impression is a little bit confusing. So let's break it down. So, take them behind the sauna. So, take someone behind the sauna is to really take someone to an unseen location, you know, to punish them or beat them up. It's like beating someone up behind the bike shed kind of thing. And traditionally saunas were built outside away from the house. So you are taking them to a location kind of hidden away. And then the next bit, work for the axe, well, it's use your imagination. Heads are gonna roll, you know, you're gonna do a violence. So this original idiom is...
Olisi kirveelle töitä.
So yeah, can I just say, I fucking love this game so much. What an excellent use of language, but like 20 seconds into meeting the first character, and it sets the tone of the atmosphere of this scene so well. It's just so chef's kiss good, and you add that to all the atmosphere that's been done before. It's just brilliant, seriously. Oh yeah, effect. Yeah, I'm still loosely sticking to this P method I didn't forget about. So yeah, the use of Artie's rally English works really well to emphasize his creepy aura, and it continues to unsettle the player. So you are left without a clear opinion of this character. You know, is he a good character? Is he a bad guy? You don't particularly know. And it's emphasized further by the internal dialogue of Jessie, who states, the janitor is a friendly face in my book, but then she continues to say, if there's an axe murderer around, that's him.
Artie the janitor is a friendly face in my book.
Better than somebody with no face at all. Think about it. No face.
But that said, I know what you're thinking. If there's an axe murderer around, that's him.
Yeah. And then I love a little touch I love here, because she's talking about faceless characters. Artie then starts laughing about faceless people, which kind of implies that Artie can read your internal monologue, which is pretty cool. Mao! Why do you always insist to Mao as soon as I try to record a video? So spoilers, Artie is a character that you continue to meet throughout the game. And he has many more examples of weirdly translated idioms and just strange grammatical use. I have a few examples to show you, and then I'm done. Okay? Okay. So, one example of a direct translation which I really liked, it came across as quite cute to me. So Artie asks you for help, and he explains that the job is a very small couple of hours job.
But first, we need to get you working. Very small couple of hours job.
Yeah, in this example, Artie is just translating a Finnish phrase word for word. The direct translation comes across as a little strange, but it's pretty easy to understand, you know, without any, work. So,
Pari tuntia työtä.
I didn't particularly want to use this example. I just really like this saying, very small couple of hours job. It's nice, This next sentence is actually really interesting. Burn it into a reindeer, not into a moose.
Burn it into a reindeer, not into a moose.
And I have seen this being mentioned online loads as a really confusing sentence for a few different reasons. So the original Finnish sentence, or idiom,
Polta se poroksi, ei hirveksi.
the definition of this sentence means burn it to ashes. But poro is a homonym, so that's a word with multiple meanings. And in this case, poro means ashes and reindeer. So instead of saying burn it to ashes, it's leading Artie to say burn it to a reindeer. So in this case, Artie is just making a weird joke, which I really like, and I wouldn't have pegged that at all. I would have been like, burn it to a reindeer, what are you talking about? So I did notice this sentence has caught the attention of other word nerds, resulting in an academic paper being written. So there's a paper I found called Burn It Into a Reindeer, Not Into a Moose, The Use of Idioms in Remedies Control. And it's a pretty interesting paper. Oh, I haven't shaved properly. My shaver died. It's a pretty interesting paper. It's around 20 pages in length. It's not a difficult read, and it didn't come across as dry and boring. So if you like reading academic papers and you want to find out more, I recommend a perusal. So yeah, I'll leave a link in the description if you're interested and you'd like to read it. I recommend it though, it was pretty good. To me, the most memorable sentence in the game was uttered by Artie, and it was, throw the spoon in the corner.
We can throw the spoon in the corner.
First time I heard this, I generally laughed at how absurd it was. I had to stop and be like, the fuck did you just say? So the original comes from...
Heittää lusikka nurkkaan.
So, with my pretty basic level of Finnish, I assumed it meant to give up, like throw in the tub. So, throw the spoon in the corner, I thought, it meant to give up, But the translation means to die, and it's kind of close to something like kick the bucket. So, something I quite like from the academic paper. I'll still just do a quick quote. Another reason for the opaqueness of the idiom is the fact that it is a euphemism, a way of avoiding something directly, for example, death, which I quite like, and that actually makes a lot of sense. So, yeah, that's really cool, and I really like it. That one hooked me for ages as I was investigating that, so, it's good stuff. That's it. There's no more idioms. As much as I would love to delve into this and write like a dissertation level essay, I'm going to leave it here at a nice YouTube topic, nice entry level video. So I'll leave a link in the description to a few online discussion posts. They go into this in more detail. So if you'd like to see more examples of Artie language used and you don't want to read an essay, it's really interesting. I'm not biased, but I really recommend you read these because they're just like Reddit posts. They're not exactly like dissertations. So, the level's pretty easy to get into, and it's actually just really interesting. It's really handy if you don't have Finnish language skills or a partner who's willing to sit there and translate to you throughout the game. Hopefully my level of control has piqued your interest enough to check out the game if you've never played it before. And if you have, go play it again. That's really good. So if you've got any examples of something interesting in a game, let me know in the comment section, as I freaking love finding out random stuff. Like, it doesn't even have to be about language. For example, I've got a few ideas for videos about using environmental storytelling in games. As that's going to be probably my next ramble topic. Or the book House of Leaves. Hang on. Really prepared. My slightly dirty copy of House of Leaves. All right. So House of Leaves is one of the inspirations for the old house in Control. That's the building you're in, the offices. And in Control, the building shifts around and it changes, and it's always kind of moving. And they've clearly taken that from House of Leaves. So House of Leaves is a really hard to read book. I'm just going to throw it out there. It's not an easy book, but it's 1/3 creeping horror about a house that shifts with impossible rooms appearing. It's 1/3 film studies essays on things that don't seem to exist in our universe. And it's 1/3 of a guy rambling about his sexcapades. If you read it, you'll get to the Johnny chapters there. It's just about a guy banging chicks a lot. I don't know how this fits in. And then another third, yes, I know I'm doing a man, bear, pig. Half man, half bear, half pig. But the last third is... it's basically like an AR puzzle full of like coded sections with like... okay, so the book has... I'm gonna randomly show. But there'll be like random sections where there's like random things in blue, or lines of like words underlined, or upside down. My favorite, so I don't want to do spoilers, but there's a poem from the character's mother, Johnny's mother, and there are 2 separate hidden messages in the paper. So if you take the first letter of like every sentence, it tells something, and then there's a few random capitalized letters and stuff. And basically, one of them is, I think she's like sent a message from a mental institution, but it's basically saying, help, I'm being abused. And so it's a really cool book. It's got so many layers. And I basically only discovered it because I was reading through Control's like inspirations and stuff. So easily write a topic on. So I'm just gonna put it down. Anyway, so yeah, really cool book. But like I said, that could be another topic. So yeah, it's definitely right. Anyway, so thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the slight taster of this topic. You know, and I'll leave some links so you can investigate further. So yeah, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and yeah, I hope to see you again sometime soon. Take care.